this is one of the funniest experiences ever with my uncle and I, and you are all going to laugh. But before I tell you about it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see more awesome content on this channel. I do songwriting, history lesson, auto repair, and blow your mind what I can do at low vision. Now, to today's video. I was going through a thing with my phone. It talks, of course, through a Craigslist ad, and it was a gentleman trying to get rid of 3 cars. And I said to my uncle, I said, "Uncle, do you think you could tow them for me?" And he said, "Sure, little buddy. I'll tow them for you." My Uncle Bob calls me little buddy. So then I'm like, okay. So then I call the guy. And I said, "Sir," and he's like, "Well, I really don't want to get rid of these cars. My mother owns a house. She's on me. I got to get these cars out of here and stuff like that. My mother wants these cars gone." I'm like, "Okay, sir. How much a car?" And we made a deal. I gave him cash, went up and gave him the cash, and then I said, "Can I come back for the cars after?" And he said, "Sure." So then I call U-Haul, go get the tow dolly, and we hook it up to my little Ford Escort station wagon that had a trailer hitch and everything on it. And my uncle drove, because I can't drive. I have bad eyes, as you all know, so I can't drive. So then we go up, and we head up to Bern, New York, you all. We head up to Bern, New York. The wagon goes up. We pull in the guy's driveway, hooks up to the first car, everything goes well. My uncle didn't know how to hook up a car to a tow dolly. He's never done that before. It was his first time for everything. We go back to my house with the car to make sure everything was good. Then everything was good. Dropped the title off at my house, so proof of ownership. Then brought the car to my friend's house, pulled the motor and tranny out, took the passenger rear door off for one of the cars that I needed, took a couple other parts off it, and then just sent the car to a junkyard. That went good. Okay, next car. Next time. We're heading up to Bern by GPS because it's a little ways. It's about 2.5 hour drive from where I live. Okay, we're going up. Then the GPS says take a right. We do it. Then all of a sudden, the road's twisty and windy and says, "Seasonal road 4x4s only." And my uncle's like, "Huh, I wonder why that says that." We didn't say it last time. I said, "Uncle, I think we're going the wrong way." "No, this is the name of the road that the guy lives on." Then all of a sudden we come around this one turn and my uncle go, "Holy blank." I said, "What?" "It's a big mountain or hill." I'm like, "Well, this wagon can do it, Uncle." And he's like, "Yeah, it probably can. We'll try it." So then we start going up the hill and it's steep. Like you can feel the car. It's like you're like tilted back, like what you feel when you're going up a steep hill on a roller coaster, or how you're tilted back. That's what it felt like the wagon. Like you could tell this hill was steep and you were leaning back in your seat pretty good. And this wagon was going up. We're getting about halfway up the hill. And then it started getting a little steeper. And my uncle was holding the pedal to the floor. He's like, "This pedal's to the floor and she's slowing down." I'm like, "Uncle, let's just have faith. He'll make it." But Uncle Bob's like, "I'm not sure about that." Then all of a sudden it started slowing down and started sliding. And then Uncle Bob's go, "Ooh, if we slide, that's a big drop off on the left." And I'm like, "Oh, Uncle Bob, we got trees on the other side." "Yeah?" I said, "We got a winch. Let's get out of this car and hook it to a winch or we're going to lose this car." And he's like, "How are you going to stand? The hill's steep." I said, "Well, let's work our way over to the tree with the winch thing." Because the wagon had a winch on it. And I said, "Let's hook the winch to the tree and hold the wagon to the tree and pray the tree don't fall." So we ended up doing that and it held it. Then we aired out the tires a little bit to give it more traction, and then we unhooked the winch. I said, "Uncle Bob, try it." And he's like, "I'm going to stop to pick you guys up. You guys can't go up this hill." And like I said, "Uncle Bob, don't stop, just keep going." And he stopped. "Everyone get in." Then we got in and it went up the hill. Now the truck was coming down as we're still going up the hill from the top, and the guy started to go down. Then he stopped and started to back his way up, and he had a 4x4. And he was waiting for us at the top, and we passed him. He said, "How did you guys manage to get that wagon up this hill? Only 4x4 trucks can go up this. I have never seen a vehicle, let alone a wagon like that, pulling a tow dolly go up this hill." And it was a stranger. He said, "Wow." And my uncle goes, "It was the grace of God that got this thing up." So then we go to the guy's house after all that struggle, right? Then the guy says, "Well, I really don't want to sell these cars." And I said, "Well, can you do payments to pay me back?" "No, I really ain't got the money." Then I said, "Is there a way that you can just pay me back?" And he said, "No." So then, long story short, he ended up boxing all the cars in and tore the motor apart. So we had to tear my wagon's motor part, which my uncle said, no, 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 don't do that. That's our wheels. I said, Uncle, we got it. We got to put this motor together. Then how? I said, we're going to put the wagon's motor back together once this car is on the tow dolly. But it's all boxing. You'll see, Uncle. Don't worry. And he's like, this ain't going to work. We're going to have to tear this thing apart, just get the wagon back together, make it home. I'm like, it will work. Don't worry, Uncle. My uncle's a little bit older and stuff like that, so he worries a lot about some things. Well, long story short, I took the battery out, took the alternator off, the serpentine belt, the coil pack, the spark plugs, the wires, the starter, everything the guy took off the car, I took off the wagon and put it on that. Because they were the same kind of motors. So then, the moment of truth came, we started it up. My uncle's like, it's a tree against the rear of the car and a truck against the front. How are we going to move it? And stuff on both sides, vehicles. I said, Uncle, thank you for giving me an idea. He said, what do you mean? I said, let's get the jack out of the wagon. We get the jack out of the wagon, jack up the rear end of the car, and jack up the other side of the rear, and we push the car towards the one side. And I said, you know what? We're going to have to force this car off this jack. And that's what we did. It slid sideways, cleared the tree because the corner of the car was against the tree, cleared the tree, and I said, Uncle, go put it in reverse now. Then all of a sudden he went to go move. The wheels are locked up. The brakes are locked. So then we jacked it up again, unlocked, took the wheels off, unlocked the brakes, got them to work, put the tires back on, then my uncle put it in reverse, drove through the woods and got it back on the road, and then drove it right up onto the dolly. Then we tore that car apart, took all the parts and put it back on the wagon, and then hooked up the wagon to the dolly and drove home. Then the next car, you all thought that was something. Wait till you hear this one. This is the black car. It was one silver car, one blue, and one black. Well, the black car now. But it's kind of funny. I bought 3 sets of cars that were these same colors. I don't know if it's a common color for these kind of cars. I bought 3 different kinds times. And matter of fact, I bought 3 of the same exact kind of cars a few years later and burned from another guy. I'm like, I wonder if these color cars are so popular. That's why they all are that way. But long story short, we ended up going back up to Burn, and now we knew not to take the seasonal road if we said to go up the regular way. So we go up, and the guy had the car waiting at the end of his driveway. So then, my uncle has a brilliant idea to take the front brakes and rotors off because everything was seized on it because it was sitting so long, and the car is all rotted out. And that one had a blown engine, so it couldn't start. So then we jacked up the rear and front, and I said, why are we taking the brakes off? And my uncle says they're so rusted on. And this car, the tires didn't even want to come off. When you went to go jack it up, the jack fell through parts of the car. The front was solid, but the rear end of the car was gone. So then we got it all and everything like that. Got the rotors and drums and everything off. I said, Uncle, we need some kind of brakes on this car. No, we don't. You got a winch on your wagon, don't you? And then a little while later, after we did that, he took a little break. And I said, all right, ready, Uncle? Let's hook this up to the dolly. All right. And he goes to my mom's fiance, Julio, do you think you can push this car with the wagon up to the top of that hill on that road, past the 2 houses up there, and I'm going to coast this and ride it right onto the dolly? I said, Uncle Bob, it has no brakes. No, don't do that. And he's like, the e-brake work? I said, no, it won't. You took the rear brakes out. The e-brake will not work. Yeah, well, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay. Uncle Bob, don't do it. Listen to me, please. This is going to be a disaster waiting to happen. Well, my uncle wouldn't listen to me, so long story short, he did what he wanted to do. And that's what he did.
Video. 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 Video.
Well, long story short, he did that. And when the car went up there, I'm trying to make sure this is on the camera showing me.
Video.
But it ain't talking for some reason. I think this camera's showing me, I'm not sure. If it isn't, I do apologize. The camera's off once again, I have low vision. But once we got the car to the top of the hill, where I knew it wasn't a good idea, my uncle rides with my mom's fiance, Julio, and stuff back down to right where the dolly is. And we hooked the dolly up to the wagon. I'm like, this is a bad idea. This is a bad Uncle Bob, will you please listen to me? This ain't a good idea. Let's use a winch and just pull it up on the dolly. No, little buddy, this is way faster and easier. You will see. Nothing will go wrong. Your uncle wouldn't do if it was dangerous. I said, Uncle Bob, you want to do something if it's dangerous? How many things have you put yourself into in life that was real dangerous that you never should have? Oh, that's the old me. The new me don't do nothing like that. You're talking about a man, you all, who tried to build a picnic table. And it was like a picnic table for midgets. He didn't realize he made the legs too small. But he tried. He put effort, so that's a plus. Well, my uncle starts walking up. He said, okay, guys, just get out of the way, and I'm going to coast it. I'm going to ride it right on. I said, Uncle Bob, please listen to me. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to get hurt. I said, well, you just listen to your nephew for once. No, little buddy, I know exactly what I'm doing. And then my mom's fiance said, Bob, please don't do this. So then, Uncle Bob didn't listen. All of a sudden, you hear the car starting to come down. Oh, maybe he does have it. Maybe he's using the transmission by throwing it in park and stuff. Nope. All of a sudden, he comes around the turn, and you hear, move, move, no brakes, no brakes, no brakes. And he's yelling, and all of a sudden, you hear like a bang, 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 when he goes up on the dolly, and he jumps the dolly, you all. Like, literally, he flew up onto the dolly, and you know the receiver bar that connects the tow dolly to the car? Well, he wedged the car between the two things, and the front tires are spinning in mid-air, you all. I've never seen something like that before. The car came to a stop. It didn't hit the wagon. By the grace of God, I don't know how. I swear, there's no possible way that car stopped like that unless it was the grace of God who stopped it. Because the way that it was inches away from taking out the rear of the wagon. It was like inches. That shows you miracles happen. I will tell you that, friends. So then, long story short, my uncle, how do I get out? The doors are wedged. I said, climb through the trunk. There's a safety release in all trunks, so get out through the trunk. And he did that. Then he's like, little buddy, we're going to need a flatbed or a wreck, or we're going to need 2 tow trucks up here. We got to get the wagon and get them separated. I said, Uncle Bob, just give me a half hour to think. We're going to figure this out without a tow company. That's why I'm here. I don't know the answers to everything, but I know I can figure this out. This can't be impossible to fix. How the blank are you going to fix it? The wheels are hanging in the air, little buddy, in the front. And I noticed the guy had firewood laying around. So I said, Uncle Bob, go grab as much firewood as you can get and put it on the side of this wagon. And he did that. So I said, go get a couple 2x6s that guy has. He grabbed them too. I said, okay. I said, now, let's stack the wood underneath the tongue of the tow dolly, the receiver bar, and across. And let's do it that way and stack it up right where it's just barely touching the tire. And we did it. So then I said, all right, Uncle, here comes the moment of truth. Someone's going to have to jack up this car that's rotted and hope that it don't fall through it. The front end's pretty solid. Use a jack on right where the car's supposed to be and jack it up. Use it. And he's like, how are we going to do that? I said, no, what? Hang on. I'm like, wait a minute. We can't do it like that. So then I said, all right, Julio, can you go get me 2 of the tires that are inside that wagon? And he said, why? I just said, just get me 2 of the tires and I would donut, just in case. So then we do that, and I'm like, damn, it's too short still. But the guy had some cut wood laying around. I said, hey, Julio, go over to that wood pile, the cut wood from the guy who builds stuff, who sells the cars, and grab a couple pieces of the wood. We need to raise this jack up on these tires, so this way it can jack up the car off the bar, the thing. And my uncle's like, this ain't going to work. This is going to fall, and this is going to be a big disaster. I said, Uncle, listen, it will work. So then Julio goes, gets the wood. We put the jack on it. We raised the front of the car. And I'll tell you, I was scared. I had butterflies in my stomach. I didn't think it was honestly going to work. I was trying because I wanted to save money. I didn't want to buy a tow truck. Pay for a tow truck, though. So long story short, it ended up raising it. And then we put the 2x6s across the top of the firewood stack, which it wasn't probably the safest way to stack stuff to hold a car up. But that was my idea how to get it up. And I said, okay. Now we got the car raised up above the receiver bar. The tires are up there now. Now I said, here comes a moment of truth. I need someone to wedge the tires of the tow dolly, and I need the tow dolly's tires wedged real good so it can't fall when we disconnect the wagon. My uncle said, little buddy, you can't disconnect the wagon. And I said, Uncle Bob, I already know that. I'm going to have Julio go get something outside of the wagon. You're going to see in a minute. And he said, what? It can't be disconnected. The thing doesn't go down, then it's going to wheel down. You're going to have a runaway dolly. I said, no, Uncle Bob, you'll see. I said, Julio, go get me my jack stand and the other jack inside the car. We need 2 jacks to jack up this receiver bar to make sure it's secure. And I said, in the center, we're going to put a jack stand just to be safe. And we jacked up the receiver bar, made sure that it was all supported the same height that it was when it was hooked to the wagon. I raised the front a little tiny bit more with one jack. And then I said, alright, here comes the moment of truth. We disconnected from the tongue of the wagon. And then it didn't move. Then I had my uncle spin the wagon around because it was his idea to drive a car at no brakes down a hill. And I had him hook the tow chains up to the back of the black car. Well, he hooks it to underneath the car, goes, oh, yeah, I got it. Uncle Bob, the only thing you got is the underneath of the car that was rotted. You pulled the undercarriage out with you. You took parts of the frame rail with you. Oh, I did. So I said, pop the trunk. And we wrapped it around a support on the inside trunk, hooked the chain to. I said, this is going to be risky, but we're going to have to try it this way. I said, go easy. And when we say stop, stop, because it means the car locked itself and went in a dolly. And he goes and pulls, and it ain't doing nothing. I said, keep going. And then all of a sudden, it started moving. At first, the little wagon, when it moved, it was just spinning the tires. And it started moving, and the car started moving. That was on the wheel, like, ooh, 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 please fall in the wheel holes on the dolly. Please don't jump the dolly or break something. And it found it. Julio yelled, stop, Bob, we did it! And we disconnected it, and then we brought that car home, took the transmission out of it, took all the doors off, because the doors were good, took the interior out, and took the hood off and stuff like that, and trunk lid. Needed that for a couple other cars that I had at the time. And that's my story of doing scrapping with my Uncle Bob. Scrapping is when you bring metal to the scrapyard, for those who don't know, and recycle it and get paid for it. But I'll tell you, I won't ever do towing with my uncle again, because he's too dangerous with that kind of stuff. My uncle, God, I love him, but sometimes he don't make the best decisions. Anyone would have known once you took the brakes off the car, you don't do that and go up that hill. That could have put people in harm's way. That could have ended in many different ways. But thank God the good Lord had a blanket of protection over us all that day and made sure nothing bad happened. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next cool video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to see more awesome content on the channel. I will see you in the next video.
Video. Stop recording video.